Welcome back to Armchair Author Chats. I'm your host, Rita Slanina, actress, author, lifestyle, and shopping bestie. And I love reading and writing, and I love all the authors that we get to introduce you to in this show. So I hope you're going to be just as excited as I am today about our first guest for season 3. I can't believe we're here, another season. SD Huston. She really needs no introduction. Where is your introduction? Oh, goodness gracious, where am I? Here you are. Here you are. A fantasy, romance, and YA fantasy author with a passion for writing about broken characters who face adversity to become a better version of themselves. And they may or may not be dragons, but there's always love to find. So let's bring her on right now. All right, here we go. Hello, hello. How are you, Shannon? Hi. Welcome. Welcome back.
The screen here. Here we go.
It wouldn't be a season without starting with you, of course. I love it.
Coming back.
Thank you for coming back again. So you have so much that you've been doing this year. Gosh, I've been keeping up with you. You just did a successful Kickstarter with A Curse of Wings and Gems. Ooh, fancy, fancy. And then you wanted to talk about the fated fantasy adventures and turning that into romance. You want to share a little bit about that and maybe about you as an author?
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you hit it, a fantasy romance author. Kind of throw in there the fantasy author part too, because I do have some fantasy that is published, but I am writing strictly in fantasy romance now. And the Fated Adventures was part of the Kickstarter, which you were able to get that and several other people. It was so it's Fated Adventures is what I called it to start with. It was just something new I was trying, and I wanted to do something that was beyond just telling the story. Yes, all the packets. So it's interactive where I send the packets through the mail and you get part of the story, and you go online and you interact with the online portion to get more of the story. And I have done quite a few meetings, been to a few masterminds with people who are doing things beyond the book as well. Beyond the Book is actually the name of a mastermind group I'm part of that is put together by I can't remember his name, Michael Evans. So and I just actually had a conversation with someone who's been doing interactive storytelling for over a decade and talking about how I can move forward with this idea, because I think even for like you love getting the story in the mail, but getting online is a different aspect altogether, which if you're not getting online, you're not getting the rest of the story. So you don't want to read the next packet because you're missing story in between. And so with talking with him and talking with the groups and stuff, I think I'm going to scale it back. There's still going to be some interactive portions, but it's not going to be where, like, if you don't do the stuff online, that you're going to miss the main story. So I want to have more of the story through the mail, and then just like bonus stuff that's online. So I think I'm going to do that, and so I am going to be rebranding it to, and I also wanted to make it more about what my brand is, which is romance, fantasy romance, romantasy being the main buzzword right now. So romantasy adventures instead of Fated Adventures, romantasy adventures. That way makes it very clear that if you're coming into this, you're going to get a romance story out of it. So
that's amazing. And I was just sharing that in the background here. I love getting these. They're so fun. And the interactive aspect is just brilliant. It's just brilliant. And you inspired me so much during Kickstarter. No idea. Okay. So I have a question. Give us your book pitch, but do it like you're talking to your best friend who hates spoilers.
oh gosh, I'm not good at this. And I'm like, okay, well, which book do you want me to pitch? The most recent one? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to cheat. Hold on, get my fingers on the right buttons here.
Is it cheating or is it being prepared? We'll let the audience decide.
Well, I am going to just pull it directly from. Okay, dismiss. I hate what Kickstarter does that. All right, so A Curse of Wings and Gems is well, I love like the image that I have at the top of my Kickstarter, which is to save him, she was forced to marry him, but to save herself, she was forced to betray him. And so I really like that. And it is a Little Mermaid kind of retelling, but with a darker twist. And it's not one for one. Like you're not going to find the whole story there. It's just pieces that have been inspired by Little Mermaid and not necessarily the Disney version. There are a few things from there, but I take more from the original version, which actually had a sad ending. Mine does not have a sad ending. It is a romance, so it does have the HEA.
I love that. I love that. So, what's the most chaotic way this story came to you? Dream, shower thought, total accident?
Um, so when I was thinking about the storyline, I knew I was going to be writing the first three books in this series. Like they were going to be they were non-linear. They're all happening roughly in the same like 30-day window. And in order to write the first book, and then there's crossover, there's brothers and all of them and their love interests. So there's crossover between the brothers into each other's stories, especially since they do communicate through mirrors. And I thought, okay, I have to know what the other stories are. So that was really chaotic trying to come up with three stories at once while I was writing the first one because I'm not really a planner. Like I have stuff in my head, but my head is just chaotic as it is. I don't think I dreamed much of this
Relatable.
particular. Yeah. Yes, we share that quite a bit, the way we think. So my third book, which I'm writing right now, I have dreamed that one for the last 2 years. The characters do not stop talking to each other in my head and in my dreams. But yeah.
I love that. I love that. I apologize. My eyes keep watering. Oh. So try not to keep touching my eyes there. Okay. So let's be
Can you cry over my
honest. Oh, yeah.
It's
Dorian. Dorian. He's my favorite. So be honest. Which character would you never want to get stuck in an elevator with and why?
So this is one of my characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably Edmar from the A Curse of Wings and Gems. He's just too much of a goody two shoes. He's boring. Yeah, so he does change throughout the book, but I had a hard time writing him.
Yeah, right. Because you got to find the excitement in the normal or the mundane, right? Like we do with
Yeah.
chores on a daily basis.
So if we're stuck in an elevator, I need someone who can think outside the box, not someone who's gonna be like, let's follow the rules. We'll just sit here until someone saves us. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, come on, Shannon. What are you trying to break the rules for? Yeah, I know, right? No, I did like Edmar though. I did. Okay, let's see. Writers are a quirky bunch. What's your most embarrassing or ridiculous writing habit?
Fun or embarrassing or ridiculous writing habit? Well, I dictate, so and I call it verbal vomiting. So I often I get embarrassed to say that when I know it's for new people to me, verbal vomit because it doesn't have like the best like visual that goes with it. And I'm like, just think of like words just pouring out. That's what it is. And then and I have dictated in public a few times, and people will look at me like I'm crazy, but I
I
don't do it
love
very
it.
long.
I love it. Well, what is like an evil genius without looking a little bit embarrassed in public if you have to like verbally vomit?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how the magic happens. Did your book ever completely betray you? A plot twist, a character rebellion, or a deadline disaster? Any of those three will be good.
Yeah, Curse of Wings and Gems totally betrayed me. Because it took me like 1 year, almost exactly 1 year from the day of I started writing A Curse of Scales and Feathers, which is the first book, to the day that I put it up for a Kickstarter. So I was able to write it, get through my critique partner, go through beta and alpha readers, revise it, go to the editor, and get it all up in that year. And it took me 19 months for A Curse of Wings and Gems. And so I had to keep pushing off the Kickstarter because I didn't like my own book. So I had to get to a point where I'm like, do I like this? I need to make this into something I like. So
Nice. I like that. I like that. What's the one moment on your publishing journey that made you think, "Oh no," or "Oh yes"?
um oh gosh, one moment. Well, right now I have that oh no moment for everything. Because I'm still really in a burnout phase from doing the Kickstarter early in the year to running in, rolling into the AuthorTube writing conference and just like all the things I've set up for myself to do as part of my author business. And it's just when I feel like I'm finally catching my breath, I feel like, no, I'm about to miss another deadline. And I'm just really tired of missing, getting so close to deadlines. I'm missing them and I'm jumping through hoops to and trying to get things done. And I know people think I get a lot done, and I probably do, but probably at the expense of my health and my sleep. So I'm ready to stop doing all these things.
Yeah, that's relatable. We actually talked about this before, and yeah, it just feels like you can do so much, but you have to kind of do all these things, and we know it's temporary, right? But then it's kind of like it doesn't end.
Yeah. It just feels like it more and more every year for me, though. It's not. I keep telling myself year after year, it's just temporary. Just get myself established, and it just feels like it just gets harder and harder every year. And I'm not any more established, I feel like, than I was a couple years ago. I don't know.
No, I can relate to that absolutely, especially when you're working. I mean, it's we're not just writing books; we're running a business. We're authors who are really running a creative like business, and there's other aspects of it that maybe we already know it, but it's just like, okay, I can knock this out. Oh, wait, I got to do this too. Oh, wait. And then there's this too. And then responsibility we have to others that we're helping, or, we're willing to do things, right? It's just part of the deal, I guess. And maybe a lot of viewers don't know that or recognize that. And it takes us a while to get to the point where we can hire someone to help us out or whatever. And, kudos because you're doing really well, and I just love watching you succeed and just keep plugging away, even though you think I missed that deadline. You're amazing. You're still amazing. It's just a day on a calendar, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do try to tell myself that, like, these are dates I've set for myself, but if I'm committing to something with someone, I don't like having to change it or miss it.
Yeah, I can definitely belabor that with you. Point for sure. All right, now I think similarly we share this as well. So writer's block happens, except we don't really have a writer's block situation. So I'm going to adjust this question a little bit. What's your guilty pleasure distraction? Maybe not when the words don't come, but you just know you need to take a breather.
Oh, graphic design stuff. So I'm usually like creating pictures, and I don't do a whole lot of like, well, I guess the other day I decided to draw maps of my world. So I was sitting there just doodling. I have a clipboard over there. I was looking at my clipboard where I just drew a bunch of maps of my world. So anything that's artsy, I like doing. So I'm like, I should be writing. Oh no, I should be doing something else. No, I should be answering emails. Nope, I'm gonna go back to writing or drawing. So
I love that. I love that. So let's play producer. If your book had a trailer, what's the opening scene?
which one? Because I actually do have trailers
Let's do,
for.
well, yeah, you do actually have book trailers. So what about
Yeah.
Curse of Wings and Gems, your most recent release?
So the opening scene, the dragon flying over the ocean, heading toward the mermaids are singing at Siren's Cove, and then the thunderstorm comes and knocks them out of the sky. So yeah, I've had that scene has been in my head since I wrote the first book.
Oh, I can see that. I can definitely see that. What's the weirdest or most unexpected feedback you've ever gotten from a reader?
Oh, those who know me know this, but yes, on the first book, A Curse of Scales and Feathers, there's a curse on the brothers. They can't continue a relationship beyond a certain point unless the curse is being broken. Because if they continue the relationship past a certain point physically, the curse can't be broken. So that doesn't happen in my first book. There's some light kissing. That's about it. And I had one of my alpha readers who erased the end of a chapter and wrote in a physical scene and said I was taking too long and it needed to happen.
Nice. Nice. So, which book from your childhood still lives rent free in your head? Maybe inspired you more than you realized?
The Elf Stones of Shannara. So there is no, the Wish Song. It's the Wish Song. Sorry, the Wish Song of Shannara. It's the third book. I mean, Al-Anon is in all three of the first books of the Shannara, beginning of the Shannara series. He dies in the third book, and that death scene is like that sits with me. So
Oh, wow. I love that. So you're hosting a chaotic dinner party with three of your characters. What's on the menu and who flips the table first? We know it's
Who
not
flips
Omar.
the table?
Yeah.
Um,
If I had to choose from Fated Adventures from those,
yeah,
I think I know who would flip the table, but I'm
it would
not
be
gonna.
it would be Garnexus. She'd flip the table first. Yeah. So yeah, Shara Riel would just sit there and be like, "What? What is she doing?" And Adorian would probably make a joke.
In his snarky, like cool fashion.
Yeah.
So looking back, what's the worst writing advice you've ever gotten and how did you ignore it?
You have to have an outline. So yeah, and it's still like advice that's given out all the time, and you know that it doesn't work for everyone. So yeah, and that the only way I was able to ignore it is well, it was just really realizing like how do I work as a writer, and that just comes from self-reflection because I've been writing since I was 9 years old. The heaviest portion of my writing was my early teen years, and when I thought back then, like I would write my stories and then I would write my outline after my stories because I thought, well, you're supposed to have an outline when you write, so here it is. Um, but then when I went into writing as an actual career, I wrote an outline for my first book, and I was just struggling to write that book. And the second book, I was struggling to write it, and I had an outline, and I finally threw out the outline, and I haven't used an outline since for my novels. Now I have used outlines for shorter. I'm trying to write shorter novellas and short stories, and I find that having an outline, even if I go off script with my outline, at least I can see how I need to keep it more condensed. And I'm sure after a time, after I practice this skill more and more, I probably will not need an outline in the future. But
I share that sentiment. I find that outlines make me feel like I already wrote it. And then I don't want to write
yeah,
it. I'm like, it's done.
yep, exactly. I have two novellas. I have full outlines done on them, and I still haven't started them because I feel like, well, I've already written them. And I have to go back and write those at some point.
I do better. I do what's called and I think you guys you probably know this. I do a reverse storyboard where it's like I've written the story already, and then I'll just take like the cliff notes in my brain. Sorry, I have a chicken here. Hi, Dorothy. Here we go. Thank you. Sorry about that. Never know. And I'll do like it's like the outline after the fact.
Yeah, reverse outline. They call it reverse outline.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just didn't know there was a name for it. I was like, it just.
See, when I found out the name reverse outline, I realized, oh wow, I didn't invent this. This was already something people are doing. So
And the whole time I'm sitting here going, I don't think I belong because I didn't do it the way they told me.
but you know, I heard this somewhere on some podcast the last few days, where for those who are not outliners, having that reverse outline is really good because, like, especially if you have like a series or you have like connected stories, because you're gonna forget, especially after you've written like 10 books or whatever or stories, you're gonna forget what happened in your stories, and so you don't have to go back and reread all the story. Where if you have your reverse outline, now you can do a quick read through and remember what your story was about.
Oh, absolutely. I had to start a series Bible. Like I totally get this because back on the back end, it has helped me out. I'm like, she did she do that in the first? I don't remember. I don't know. Oh my goodness, that's great. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Okay, let's do a couple of fun. We got a couple minutes. So before we wrap, what project are you working on right now that you're secretly or not so secretly obsessed with? You kind of touched on it in the beginnings. I think I know what you're going to talk about, but share with the audience.
Um, what I'm obsessed with, I mean, there's a difference between there's different levels. So in the back of my mind, what's constantly playing, of course, is the third book, my work in progress I'm writing. That's A Curse of Spikes and Smoke. And they keep talking to me. They keep having conversations. They're not really talking to me. They're talking to each other, but they're talking in my head. So, and I keep thinking, oh, that's good. I got to remember that, put that in there. But then on what I'm actually doing is work and obsessing over is my Faded Adventures, which I'm trying to rebrand. Now, I'm still finishing up the tail end of the Faded Adventures. The last packet went out, but the last few things for the website. But then I'm going to be moving into creating it on a different platform, and of course rebranding it to Romantasy Adventures and thinking about what that's going to look like with lower interactivity to start with. I think I do want to build in one as a higher interactivity later for those who might be interested in it. But what I'm doing day to day right now is the Faded Fantasy, but what's going on in my head is different.
Or sort of like the prison of two ideas almost, right? Where you're like, well, I'm obsessed with this, but my brain's obsessed with this.
Yeah.
Well, before I see you out, I want to thank you so much for being here. And I would like you to tell our viewers where they can find you and how to connect with you and watch your journey and share your next release of your books.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Shannon. I write under the pen name of SC Houston. I do have a YouTube channel under the pen name of SC Houston. I also do have a website, schouston.com. Yes, that's right. And I'm not very good at updating my website. So I think all I have is like a curse of scales and feathers on there. And I have my my original fantasies on there. And I do have the Faded Adventures link at the top, which if you click on that, I think there's somewhere in there where you can sign up for a newsletter list. All it is to get notified of when it goes live, when I sell it to the public. So it won't be used in any other format, just to let you know, hey, it's live. If you're interested in it, here's where you can go. So that's all that is for. And then, yeah, I'm on social media, but I'm not on social media. I have profiles, but I get overwhelmed by all of it. So I don't really go onto social media very often.
Well, that's wonderful. All the show links are going to be in the description below, post show when I do post show wrap, and in the podcast show notes as well. So make sure you guys check those links after today's episodes air if you are looking for the direct links to get in contact with Shannon. Thank you, the lovely, the beautiful SD
Thank
Houston,
you for having me on.
You're very welcome, and thank you for coming back. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much.
Bye.